and welcome to MCN Motorcycle Show in London. I'm here with
Username Kate.
Kate. What are we up to?
Oh my gosh, there's so much to do. So we're here at the show, we're going to have a wander around, we're going to look at all the stalls, we're going to look at the bike stands and check out the bikes and hopefully just have a good time.
And what else are we getting up to later?
So we're doing something pretty exciting on the drag strip at 3:30. We're going to be ripping down there. We're on there with amazing racers. We've got Peter Hickman, John McGuinness, we've got Dom Herbertson. Like, there's some big names, and we're going to be on the strip with them. I can't wait.
On the Rocket 3 R and the Rocket 3 GT. There are so many new bikes this year that we need to check out, get a feel for, and just have a look around.
Definitely.
Should we go around?
Should we go
Let's
check
go.
them?
Walking along the hall, we've come across the beautiful New Diavel V4. Kate, what are your thoughts on this bike?
So I'm really excited to see the V4 Gran Turismo engine in this bike. It was previously a 1260 L-shaped twin. We've got V4 rawness. I'm so excited to get on it and see how it compares, and I just think it's going to be an absolute brute.
What I love about this bike is that there's nothing like this bike. In terms of it being a muscle dragster, it's a V4 muscle dragster and hyper cruiser in a way as well.
Definitely, I think hyper cruiser is exactly the way to like coin it, because it's just so muscular and it's cruiser-esque like looking, but it's got like the super bike performance with what, 162 horsepower.
It's a genre on its own. It's gorgeous, and I bet it sounds amazing with that V4 engine.
We need to look at the exhaust on this.
Come around, have a look at this.
Have a look. I don't think there's an exhaust like it.
Stuck on the right hand side. What are your thoughts on that? Because some people have criticised it for looking a little bit cramped on the side, but do you like that look?
I think from where you're stood, I love the angle of how it looks. More so than any other angle. But it will be interesting to see what aftermarket options do end up coming out on this bike, given that it's so new.
They've also shaved a lot of weight off the new Diavel compared to the older one, so this has a much higher power to ratio, which is what I love about certain bikes, where they have a lot of power and less weight. You're getting the best out of the bike, really.
I love that, definitely.
Are you excited to ride it?
I really want to ride it. I want to get on it. I want to just see what it's like with that 240 booty, the big 240 rear tyre, and I just want to sample the V4 in it, really, because it'll be interesting. Apparently it has more, mid-range than the previous predecessor, so it will be interesting to see. Right,
let's have a look at the monster.
Let's go.
Strolling across the Ducati stand, we come across the beautiful Ducati Monster SP. Tell us a little bit about this, Kate.
Well, it's quite a transformation from the Monster. It's never quite looked this slim and agile. The previous Monsters, you've had 696s, you've had, big 1200s, and they were always quite a bulky bike with a big sort of trellis frame. They've streamlined it, they've slimmed it down, they've given it an incredible power to weight ratio. What are we working with figures wise on this, Ruby?
Well, we've got 111 brake horsepower, we've got 92 Newton meter of torque, and it weighs around 186 kgs. Now, power to ratio is not as extreme as the Diavel, of course, but I still think that this bike would be an absolute blast. It's just fun, it's comfortable, it's a little bit like a hooligan bike. I mean, what class would you put this in? Is it a supermoto? Is it a naked?
So I'd have it kind of competing against the likes of like the NT09 and maybe the Street Triple and stuff like that, just in terms of category.
And it has a nice Brembo Master cylinder as well.
So with the SP, you get the Termi exhaust, which look absolutely beautiful. You've got the carbon tip on the end of them, and they just look so just aggressive and stealthy.
It's nice that that's included as part of the bike when you're buying it, so it's one less thing to think about when you're buying the bike. And on the twin engine, I think that will sound really, really nice.
Definitely.
Kate, we better move on to the next bike.
Better shift, find the next victim.
Let's go. We are here at the Triumph stand. I'm on the Street RS with Kate. Kate,
I feel like you're trying to get your knee down.
I'm trying to get my elbow down.
Yeah, elbow down.
What bikes are we going to check out at the Triumph stand?
So there's so many nice, interesting bikes that Triumph have. I think a cult favourite is the Rocket 3, obviously.
Of course, especially in the Chrome edition.
Exactly. So yeah, onto the Chrome edition. There's so many nice bikes in the Chrome collection. Like literally, I love the Thruxton RS, which
the Bobber as well.
The Bobber, like they just look so elegant and so beautiful. So yeah, looking forward to checking them out.
Up next is the beautiful Triumph Bobber. It's a 1200cc parallel twin. What have we got on this bike, Kate?
So we're working with 77 brake horsepower and 106 newton meters of torque.
Now, I rode this before, and I've just had a run on the Supersprint earlier for a practice run, and this bike is such a joyful bike.
Yeah.
It's comfortable, it's got character, it's got that kind of like retro feeling to it. For example, the key ignition is on the side of the bike, as you can see, so that's how you turn the ignition on. The dials are like kind of the traditional dials. There's nothing digital.
Nope.
But you also have the advantage of the modern benefits that you have on bikes, such as electronics and riding aids. We've got ABS and traction control. What are your thoughts on this bike, considering you haven't ridden it?
Yeah, so I haven't ridden this bike specifically. I've ridden a Speedmaster, which the engine, you know, very similar. So I've had a taste of that. And if it's anything like that, the engine on the Speedmaster is it's almost like a lazy ride, but not slow. But it's fun. It sounds incredible. I also really like the fact that Triumph have really opened this bike up to, you know, a big demographic with the accessibility of the seat height. It's so low. And I think that's great for the shorter individual.
Yes, and you know, if you're shorter and you're considering a bike that is more accessible, doesn't mean it needs to be slower.
No, exactly.
You know what I mean?
Like you can still rock your 1200 cc's, but you don't have to, you know, sort of compromise there.
It's also worth mentioning that it has torque assist clutch. You made us wait for that.
So, we are introducing a Ruby favourite. Ruby, what have we got?
Ruby favourite is the Rocket 3R. Oh my god, I'm so passionate about this bike.
You really are.
As you know, 2.5 litre triple, 165 brake horsepower, 221 newton meter of torque, weighs around 300. Power to weight ratio is unbelievable.
Crazy.
This will literally outride a lot of things. You've ridden it. What did you think of it?
So my riding experience of the Rocket 3R, literally, it is a bike that does make you want to take out a big loan.
Yeah.
Like, I want to own one.
Yes.
Like, it's incredible. There's nothing really like it, like how it feels to ride. Literally, you whack it on and you hold on and you hope to God that you can cling on.
Yes.
It goes like a scalded weasel.
For sure.
I love the fact that it's just so leery. Second gear, bit damp, you whack it on, you light the rear up, it's spinning. It's wild, honestly. It's an exciting bike.
Wild is the word for the Rocket 3R. I think, as you said, it's a genre on its own. It's a muscle hyper cruiser.
Yeah.
It just does so many things. And yes, it's got a long wheelbase. Yes, it's a little bit bulky and heavy, but it handles and drives so much better than what you would assume looking at it, right?
Definitely, and it's low as well, so that makes the weight far more manageable than if it was quite a tall bike, which helps, you know.
Did you know the Rocket 3R is a little bit taller than the GT?
I didn't know that.
A little bit
That is
more.
like a Ruby fun fact.
Yeah, and it also got cool things like you've got your traction control, you've got your ABS, it has uphill control assist.
Like hill hold.
Hill hold, that's the one. Yes.
And it's got the cruise control. And it actually has a really bonny TFT dash. It's a beautiful display.
Yes, very kind of premium. That's what I love about it. You know, it is a lot of money, but you get what you're paying for, especially with a chrome. Handy if you want to check your face now and again.
I love
right?
that.
And guess what, Kate? This only comes, from standard, comes with 60% throttle.
That is mad to me.
When it's out of warranty, remap it, get that 40%. Get that 40% more throttle and lift all the restrictions, and it will just run beautifully.
I mean, I struggle to think how you can top it with power and acceleration. Like that's just mind-boggling to me.
Yeah.
And then you know what? This one little thing about this bike that I think is such a small detail, but such a nice touch.
Yeah.
Show our cameraman the peg. So beautiful.
So the pegs are foldable like this.
So over-engineered.
Can you sit on it and demonstrate, please? It's just a neat finish to the bike to have the pillion pegs like this. here at the Royal Enfield stand, and we are on the HNTR 350. Kate,
Yes.
what are your thoughts on this bike?
So this bike is lovely. We've ridden this bike through London. We were just living our best lives, weaseling through the traffic, putting it up. And yeah, perfect for that environment, definitely.
Considering it's got around 20 brake horsepower and 27 newton meter of torque, it actually rides and handles so well.
It really does. I mean, the engine, we've got single overhead cam. It shares the same engine as the classic 350 and the Meteor 350.
Right.
So it's like a tried and tested engine for Enfield.
Yes.
And it is just a proper like thumper, and like there's just so much torque for like the city, just blah blah.
Yes.
It's just a really lovely bike.
I
to
love
look around
how
on.
much character it's got as well, in terms of the styling, in terms of the accessories and the options that you can have on the bike.
Yeah, there are so many accessories, and that's, I think, a really interesting thing about this bike, where you can really just make it your own. You can, your Hunter, should I say HNTR for the English market, can basically look so much different from somebody else's HNTR, because there are just so many different tweaks.
I almost didn't recognise this as a HNTR when we came in.
Exactly.
Because of the seat, of the rear seat hump.
Yeah, and the bars here.
Seat rest, sorry, and the cage around it.
Yeah.
Just looks completely different, and it's got the screen, which we didn't have originally.
Yeah, that's true. We didn't
Tinted
ride
screen,
them
yeah.
with that. So yeah, lots of different options. Mirrors are beautiful as well. Very, I think user friendly but fun bike.
Fun
And I
bike.
think it's priced excellently as well.
Yes. Shall we move on to the next bike?
Let's go.
Let's do it.
Let's go. Guys, we are here on the Super Meteor 650, a wonderful cruiser edition from Royal Enfield that utilises its already established and well-known 650 platform.
It's the first Royal Enfield to have upside down forks, and it comes with around 46 brake horsepower and 52.3 newton meter of torque. Kate, what are your initial thoughts on the styling of this?
So the initial thoughts, I mean, we're all familiar with the Meteor 350, and this is just like its beefier big brother.
Yes.
I think it looks beautiful. If cruisers are your thing, your bike, the genre that you like, it's a pretty nice example of one.
Yeah.
And I think the paint schemes for a start are just absolutely lovely. I think Royal Enfield have hit the nail on the head
Yes.
with the colour schemes and the designs.
Yes, it comes in, I think, 4 different colour schemes that are so different, like
Yes.
astral blue and astral green, really nice, like premium looking finishes. It weighs around 240, and it's actually ASU compliant.
Yeah, so we've got an ATU compliant bike. It's got a 15.7 litre tank, which is pretty good.
Yeah.
And I also like the fact that because it's a cruiser, you've got a seat height of 740mm, which is very low, and
Accessible.
Anyone can ride it.
Yeah.
Really.
It's a great starter bike as well. If you want something that you've got a restricted license and you want something comfortable and not intimidating, this is a great option.
And I definitely feel like it looks bigger than a 650 as well. Ruby, we are here at BMW, and I have been waiting for this bike for so long. It is about time that BMW put a 200 plus brake horsepower bike in a naked, and I couldn't be more excited.
It's absolutely unbelievable, and it's so extreme to have all that power and all that torque. We've got 210 brake horsepower, we've got 113 newton meter of torque. It weighs under 200 kgs, a naked weighing that little. All that amount of power and torque, and the ratio's just unbelievable.
Yeah.
We had the opportunity to ride it
We did.
last year at Almeria. What were your thoughts?
So my first thoughts was, I think we mainly rode it on road. We got a little bit of track time. As a street weapon, it is phenomenal. It's so fast, it's so throaty, the sound is addictive, you just winding it on.
Yeah.
And it's just a bike that just gives you the feels.
Yes.
Just gives you the feels.
It gives you a buzz for sure. I remember the roads in Almeria were amazing and twisty, and I remember that buzz. Talk about razor sharp handling.
Yes.
It was just on point, going exactly where you want it to go.
Literally, it was just a wonderful bike to ride, to be honest. And I think because I've ridden the S1000R and then riding the M1000R with, sort of, gosh, what is it? I'd say 50 more horsepower.
Yes,
like it's scandalous. And do you know what? It's such a well-mannered bike low down.
Yes.
So you hear 210 brake horsepower, it sounds scary. But I feel like you could have, a degree of riding competence, get on this, and it will look after you.
Yes.
It's got the electronic suite, which is industry leading, and it really does have your back with all the electrical aids.
Yes. And I think BMW are experts at making versatile rides on all of their bikes. You can have an absolute weapon. You know, with a click of a button, you can have an absolute weapon on track, and then you can switch everything off.
Rain mode if
exactly,
you
can put it in rain mode if things get a little bit tricky, you know. And that's why I love BMWs generally, is that they really know how to tailor a ride, and it's all about precision. You get a lot of premium parts. It's fully kitted out with M brakes, and yeah, it's been such a joy to ride.
It has. I mean, we didn't ride the competition package, which is what this bike is that I'm sat on today. And the main difference is this is dripping in carbon, even more so than the non-competition pack.
The wings look absolutely ridiculous and extreme in such a good way, because on nakeds generally the wings are not as wide and not as extreme, and I love that mean look. Worth mentioning as well is that the M1R has the smart shift cam, so it has the engine of the S1000R as opposed to the S1000R that has the engine of the old XR.
So that is a very good point. We've got shift cam in this, which I feel like people have been crying out for shift cam in BMW's naked bike, and they finally got it, and 210 brake horsepower to go with it. So yeah, it was a phenomenal bike to ride, and I actually can't wait to get out on it more this year.
I'm looking forward to doing more riding in Spain with you, hopefully soon. Stay tuned. So we are here in the sectioned off Triumph section. In addition to the stand, they also have a fleet of bikes that were used in the James Bond movies. Now, they are celebrating 60 years of James Bond, and this Tiger 900 is covered of what you would think mud, but is it?
Is it? That is the question. Is it an illusion? Well, it's actually a paint job. Ruby, do the honours and show that you can't scrub it off.
So you can't actually scrub it off because it's been splashed on the bodywork all around the bike and there, and the seat. I'm assuming because you actually can't clean it there.
Yeah, so the seat is actually purposely muddied up and marked and scuffed, and it is all paint.
We also have the scramblers, and we also have the rocket back there, but it's just a nice little feature that they have in the bike show. As you can see, I'm in the paddock of the Supersprint, where everyone will be riding all these bikes on the drag race straight. And my friend Monte is riding the Bobber, and I'm riding the Rocket 3R, and my friend Kate is riding the Rocket 3 GT. Let's have a look around, come on! We've got Tomboy a bit on the Supersprint to drag race the Triumph Bobber. How are you feeling?
Excited.
Are you going to show us any tricks?
They did not allow us to show any tricks. These are just to go straight nicely.
You've ridden the Bobber before anyway, haven't you? So you're quite used to it?
Yeah.
How do you find it?
I love it. It's easy.
Easy to ride?
Yeah, it's easy. It's a cruiser and easy to ride.
Awesome. Well, wishing you all the luck. Go Monte. We are here in the paddock at the Supersprint. Wait, Paul, hi Paul.
Hello my love, how are you?
I'm good, thank you. Can you just explain to us, what is this?
Well, this bike was originally built for Pendine Sands down in Wales. Unfortunately that was cancelled, so we're just trying a bit of sprinting, a bit of land speed with it at the minute. So.
And how's that going?
It's going very well. It normally has a bodywork on it, which is currently under reconstruction. It weighs 120 kilos. At the minute it's got 160 horsepower.
Unbelievable weight to power.
Yeah, it's going to have a turbo this year as well. So yeah, we're just having a lot of fun really.
What is it made of? What's the engine?
Well, it's a titanium chassis, and then it's a Yamaha R1 O2 engine. So
amazing, that's so cool. That's pre-Big Bang, I'm guessing.
Oh yeah, O2, yeah.
How does it behave with so little weight and a lot of power?
It's quite lively. We've had to let the tyre down quite a lot today. Yesterday in testing, it was zigzagging up there. So gently off the start and get the power on, nice and gently. But we've just done, I think, the fastest run. I think so.
Really?
I think so. Yeah.
Amazing. And what was the time?
I think it was just under 4. I think, I'm not sure, but I know my other half has just said so. So.
Oh, that's amazing! Congratulations.
Well, it's early days.
I hope no one beats you.
Well, it's early days. No, we'll just get quicker and quicker as the weekend goes on. So.
What's the handling like? Because I can see the the bars are really bent inwards.
Yeah, I mean, like I say, it's for land speed, so normally you just get tucked in. There's a bodywork on it, so I'm inside getting tucked in, so it's okay. You don't really have to worry about manoeuvring it at all. You just get off the line and go.
How did you find the U-turn?
It's awkward, but it's manageable. It's good fun. So
the wheelbase is unbelievably long, and that's to keep the front down, I'm guessing.
yeah, it's basically it's for stability as well, at high speed as well, so and length. So I can spread myself out over the bike and get my head height down. So it's for less wind resistance.
It's easier when it's like stripped of everything.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Thank you so much for your
My
time.
pleasure.
And we've got Peter Hickman. Hello, Peter.
How you doing, alright?
Yes, good, thank you. How are you feeling about riding your race bike on the Supersprint?
Yeah, it should be interesting. It's actually quite short. It's not very grippy. We did one run yesterday. Obviously we've got no tyre warmers or anything. Slicks don't really work without warmers, so it's definitely going to be a bit of fun anyway.
Yeah. And are you going to show us any tricks or stunts?
I doubt that very much. I'll try not to anyway.
Do us a little burnout or something?
Yeah, I've been told off for that already. We're not allowed to do burnouts.
How can they tell off Peter Hickman?
I know. We'll try. Well, Sunday. Maybe after the final run. Can't tell me off after the last one.
Maybe. Well, wishing you all the best.
Thank you.
We have got Craig here at the paddock area in the Supersprint. Hi Craig, nice to meet you.
Hello.
And nice to meet the beautiful H2. Tell us a little bit more about this bike, because I know it's
It's got a bit of history, this bike actually. This is one of the bikes from the original LaSalle launch in 2015.
Right.
This is also the bike that Hilliard did the lap of the TT.
Wow.
So we've at Kawasaki we've mothballed this bike more times than you can shake a stick at. And when this was announced, we said, "Do you want us to bring it?" So we've de-mothballed it, run it up yesterday, had a quick rip down yesterday, and we try and. I know it's not a competition, but we are going to try and win.
I'm sure you will on a supercharged beast. This is a H2R, isn't it? It's about 310 brake horsepower, I'm assuming.
Yeah, they're quoted at 330, but this actual one is 299.9 horsepower at the wheel.
That's 300.
Yeah.
That's unbelievable. How are you feeling about running that on the strip where it's not the grippiest strip?
No, to be honest, it spins the whole way down. So yesterday it found some grip and wheelie towards the end, but it spins as you set off.
Yeah.
You kind of have to roll it a bit. You wind back on and it spins again. And we're running a tyre warmer because it just wouldn't work without.
Do you set things like traction and electronics and everything like that pre-race?
I've turned it all off.
That's quite baffling, really, to have all that power to the rear wheel. It sounds unbelievable when you your colleague was revving it. It sounds amazing.
It's a lot louder when we get out the front. This is a standard system, so it's a completely open system. It's about 130 decibels.
Right. Yes. It's standard on the H2R, isn't
That's
it?
right. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, thank you for your time and wishing you all the luck on the strip.
Fingers crossed.
Thank you so much.
Here she goes, we've got time on him, I think. Including shed and buried.
We are back on a bobber, but not any bobber. It's a special bobber because Charlie designed it. Well, tell us what you did on it.
So this was my first Triumph project.
Yeah.
The bobber inspired me just because it's kind of got close ties to, let's say it's like a Harley Davidson in terms of chassis setup. So for me and my background, I wanted to then try something unique with this. I've got quite a big racing history, so a lot of my Harley builds, you'll find a performance influence, in there as well. So componentry, not just because it looks cool, but because it makes the bike a better ride. The Olin suspension, which you'll find on lots of Triumphs, but like I said, unique to this build. And It was just trying to be subtle. I didn't want to go over the top. We are selling this motorcycle, so we could have spent another 30, 40 grand on it, but maybe not just yet. So there's not just this bobber being built. We've got 3 others being built at my other 3 stores as well. So a T120 and 2 Speed Twins. But this bobber, I think, you know, I hope you agree, come out pretty cool for my first Triumph build.
What do you think, Kate? What you think?
I think it's gorgeous. I think you're very good at making things look very elegant and very beautiful and classy. I do have a question. Was there a really hard bit of the build that you was frustrating, or it took time, or what was?
I think for me it was more. I knew nothing about Triumphs when I started, so with Harleys I do it with my eyes shut. I don't have to think about it. You know, I know everything there is to know in the aftermarket world, in the custom world, factory world. Where with Triumph, I kind of walked in without realising that I knew nothing about them. So there was a quick and very steep learning curve on everything. But the hardest part was maybe realising that I knew nothing about what I was about to do.
At least you're honest.
I was just trying to build something that represents me and my style. Like I said earlier, the whole performance twist on customisation. You see it a lot more now than you did 10 years ago, 20 years ago. You know, it was one of the first to start building bikes with sports bike suspension. That's how I got my tie-up with Erlin suspension, was using World Superbike spec front forks on Harley Fat Boys. And they told me I was an idiot.
I just noticed the suspension.
Oh yeah, and that's regular road Öhlins. And I was using World Superbike spec or MotoGP spec stuff. That, you know, you're looking at forks that cost you 20,000 and they don't actually fit anything. They're not just art pieces, you know, these have got to be ridden. So they've got to be, safety is paramount as well. You know, what we don't want is a bike that someone spent a lifetime to saving on, ride it down the road, and we failed to build something with the best quality components and they have an accident. That's not great for us.
You're safer when you've got really good suspension as well. So things like that kind of add to the element of safety.
You know, and like we were saying earlier, I think suspension's so underrated. One, it gives you will go faster with better suspension because your bike handles well in every condition. So it is a performance game.
Just notice the carbon bits on the front, the hugger.
I'm a sucker for a bit of carbon.
Same.
So I wish there was a little bit more.
Yeah, I love how you went glossy and not matte. Gloss carbon is the one.
It is,
for me.
right? It is, yeah.
100%.
What's your next project?
For Triumph?
Yeah.
I've got a few, actually. I've got about 7. I'm building a kind of desert sled looking T120 at my central London store. That should be finished Wednesday or Thursday next week.
Oh wow.
I have 2 Speed Twin, which are going to look a little bit like my flat track race team inspired.
I can't wait to see that one.
But you've seen my race bikes.
I've seen it.
They're going to a strong influence coming from there. Speed Triple RR Moto 2 track bike as well. So
imagine that on track.
So that would be good, but that would be a personal project. I'm looking forward to that. Get it out on track.
Sounds like
you get you two along to give it a run around as well.
We were jumping.
Would you be up for that?
Absolutely.
We actually rode the RS and the RR and we swapped them around the Peak District. Yeah, brilliant bikes.
Good bikes,
yes, I like the RR more than the RS.
I like the RS.
The RS more, didn't you?
Yeah, the RR breaks me.
I haven't ridden the RS yet. I was given the RR 2 weeks ago. I had to fold myself up to get on it for the first time. But my body is, you know, I don't have to do yoga every time I get on the thing now. But I love it. The RR is an awesome bike.
Well, appreciate your time, Charlie. I know you're a busy man, so thank you so much. It's really nice to see all the different models, even though some manufacturers weren't here, like Honda. I was excited to see the Hornet. I was excited to see the Translap. So what was your highlight of the day? What did you enjoy seeing the most?
So what I really liked about this event in particular is it seems more intimate and cosy and, you know, there's a lot less to see than, say, the big shows in November. But there's still a lot to see. We've got the drag strip, having the racers, Peter Hickman, John McGuinness, Dom Hobson, everyone like that, you know, ragging it up and down the strip. That's cool. Just the vibes in here, more, you know, intimate and snug and, yeah, but still plenty of bikes to sit on. So, on that note, we'll sign off. Thanks for watching, guys.
Thanks for watching. Goodbye. Bye. Shaved around 30. I forgot. I think it's 40. Yeah, but I don't want to say it because I couldn't find it online. Right. Sorry. Ground, and they've got it in between all the manufacturers. It's all good, man. Thank you. Yeah. That's all right. You'll make it to the bloopers. Yeah, no problem. We've got a Supersprint drag strip right in the middle of the. Was he in? What numbers is on the bike?
What do you mean?
Numbers as in BHP. Fully kitted out with
Embrace.
Embrace. Now we are going where?
Don't know.
We're going.
Sorry. Okay. So. Wait, I'm looking at you. Okay.
Yeah, and it also got cool things like you've got your traction control, you've got your ABS. It has.
Actually, can't wait to get out on it more this year.
Yes. Well, I'm looking forward to